Hello, hello, hello. Good evening. This is Dr. Jenn, and I'm here to talk to you about modulating your energy. Now, what does that really mean? Have there been times where you feel like, oh, I just don't have any more energy? That I feel drained, I feel tired, I'm fatigued, I, yeah, I feel like I'm done. Sometimes I describe it as I feel like I've hit a wall, or that I just don't have anything left in me. And then there are other times where I feel like I'm literally vibrating under my skin, that my body and my being can't be contained within my skin, and that like it's not comfortable. It doesn't feel good. It feels strange. That you can't get settled. You can't relax. You can't. Yeah, it just. It's like you got to move, um, and sometimes there might be things that you can do to dissipate it. You can get up and you can exercise, or you can dance, or you might find yourself like pacing and walking around and doing all of these other things. And while that can be great, wouldn't it be even better if you can modulate your energy so that way you are conserving it when you don't need it? So that way you can create a store of energy, or when you have too much, that it can become part of what you can access at a later time when you feel like you do need it. This is possible. And the way I imagine it for myself, and the way I often explain it to others, is imagine our electric grid, the electric grid, power grid that you know brings the internet into our homes, brings electricity into our homes, into our businesses, into the places that we go out into the community, that light our lights at night, that light up the cities, light up the landscape. And we know that at times, especially depending on the time of day and depending on weather and other circumstances, we may need more energy in some areas and less in others. So that way we don't become overloaded or overpower, essentially blow the circuits, or that we don't go to use something that requires electricity and not be able to because there's not enough available. So we have these power stations throughout the country, or throughout the world essentially, that allow us to move energy where it's needed, when it's needed. And it's efficient. It's an efficient system because it's not something that you have to consciously decide, like, oh, I'm going to need more energy, so I'm going to need to put a request in for this. Or, you know what, I've got extra energy, so let me download some energy here. It's something that there's a process in place for this to happen, that we don't need to worry about. And that's what we want to create for ourselves, is we want to create neural pathways. We want to create behavior patterns that allow us to modulate our energy without having to consciously think about it. Now, I say eventually because this is new. And whenever we do something new, we do have to put some conscious energy to it. We do have to put some intention to it, some focus into it. So that way we can create it to be a part of how we operate. So how does it work? Well, for instance, I know for some people at this time of the day, as we're getting, at least on the East Coast, as we're getting into the evening, especially if we go up early, we might feel ourselves start to drag. We might feel like we need a boost or a pick-me-up, which, for a lot of people ends up being some form of caffeine or other stimulant. And while that may have gotten us through at this point, wouldn't it be great if, without unnatural stimulants or things that might not be good for us, that we could boost or supplement our energy in a much more natural way, something that wouldn't potentially cause harm to our body. And we can do that through energy. Energy is literally everywhere. It is us, it surrounds us, it's what we sit on, it's what we breathe. I mean, it's energy. So to be able to draw some more energy in, it can be as simple as visualizing the process. And that's what I do. So if you'd like to join me, you can do that now. I would like you to get comfortable and put your feet on the floor or on the ground. And if you're okay with this, close your eyes. And I want you to imagine, well, let's take a couple deep breaths first. Okay, then I want you to imagine that you've got a plug, much like a plug that you put into a wall if you wanted to turn something on. Maybe you have a lamp or a radio of some kind that you want to, or cell phone. You want to be able to plug it in, and you're going to plug it into an outlet. So imagine, now we don't need a specific outlet as human beings, since we are all energy and we are tapping into the energy that's available to us. I know from my own experience and from talking to a lot of y'all that we imagine that we only have so much energy available to us, that it's finite. And while we don't want to constantly be pushing ourselves to a point of fatigue, we are not finite when it comes to energy. We're really not, because we are connected to the energy that surrounds us, that is us. So we want to tap into that now. So however you want to visualize that, you can visualize yourself like having a plug and literally plugging it into the wall. You can visualize, like electrodes. You can visualize, bolts of energy that are moving. If you're, in this case, wanting to bring energy in, imagine yourself tapping into, plugging into, connecting into the energy that's around us and available to us. And then feel that energy come in to your electrical grid, which is essentially your nervous system. Those nerves that connect to everything that's within us. So imagine that energy coming into our nervous system and essentially powering us up. And feel that energy come in. Feel that expansion of energy. Feel that movement of energy. It may come in as a vibration. It may come in as a sound. It may come in with movement. It may come in as a color or as a light. However you normally visualize things, feel that come in. Now, when you first start doing this, of course, you might be going, yeah, right. Does this crap really work? Yes, it does. I'm sure you've been in circumstances or situations that you've gone into, whether it's a work situation or a social situation, and you've had that experience of dealing like with an energy vampire, somebody or something that feels like it just sucks the life out of you. That's what I'm talking about, movement of energy. On the reverse, I'm sure you've had circumstances that you feel energized, that you feel turned on and excited, and you're feeling that energy boost because of what you're engaged in or who you're spending time with. Again, you have naturally tapped into this energy and it's come into you. The only difference here is we are doing it consciously. So that way we're not depleting our resources. We're acknowledging that we, in fact, can choose to bring more energy into us. So again, you can do it as something as simple as imagine you plugging yourself into that energy grid or electric grid, and that energy is moving into you. Now, of course, the reverse of that is when you are experiencing those times where maybe you have an abundance or an overload of energy and you feel like you can't sit still, that it's uncomfortable and it feels weird and you can't get settled, and like it's like that's the way it feels for me. I feel sometimes like like I can't literally be contained in my skin, or it's constantly moving underneath, like within me. So if that were to be the case, you can put energy into that electrical grid again, so to bring your vibration down, your energy level down to a more manageable level. Now, sometimes when are we experiencing this overload of energy? It certainly can occur when we're excited about something, looking forward to something, or anticipating something, but it can also occur when we have opened up new avenues of healing, or we have healed something within us, and that can be physically, emotionally, spiritually, or mentally. It can occur when we are increasing our knowledge and our awareness. We're stepping into new levels of being, new levels of living, when we are making choices that are good for us, that are aligned for us, that are in integrity for us. We may feel ourselves move to new levels of energy. I often talk about how on any given day, we typically operate within a range of energy. This might be our average, and this might be like a really good day or a day that doesn't feel so hot. And we operate somewhere in there. And when we are making choices and we're doing things that are good for us, that are healthy for us, and again, physically, emotionally, spiritually, or mentally, what happens is that range, instead of staying here, it actually, the whole range moves up. And we still operate within a range, but now what's a good day or a really good day operates and vibrates at a higher frequency. And what's a not so good day is still lower, but not as low as it used to be. And sometimes when that first happens, we have to get settled into it. We also have to build up our stamina, essentially, or our endurance for it, because frankly, we're not used to operating there. So it feels uncomfortable at first. So when we're doing that, when we're acclimating, and finding our balance in that, sometimes it is beneficial for us to put some of that energy into the electric grid, or the energy grid that is us and surrounds us. That way it's available to us when we need it as we're moving forward. So, of course, if you're watching this, if you've got questions, if you've got comments, feel free to ask. Let me know what you think about this. And let me know, like, try it. Tell me what you run into. Tell me if it works, because I want to know. All right, everyone. I'm sending you lots of love, and of course, all things fucking fantastic. Until we connect again. I love y'all. Mwah.